Recording, and now we're also on Twitch. Welcome everyone, and thank you, Abdel, for joining us from from what Europe time zone, where it's like around midnight right now, right?
9 p.m.
9 p.m. All right, good. It's not too late. And so let me kick this off. So to all our listeners, thanks for tuning back in, and happy to see some new faces. I'm Albert, CEO of the Bitcoin Startup Lab. Welcome to the Who's Who and a Founder's Journey into Bitcoin interview series. The reason why we've come together as a community to do this is to celebrate innovation and significant achievements on Bitcoin so that we reinforce and grow the innovation culture on Bitcoin. Significant achievements on Bitcoin are things that were done for the first time ever or setting new records to push forward the innovation frontier of Bitcoin. This show is brought to you by the Bitcoin Startup Lab. We're a top pre-accelerator in the Bitcoin ecosystem, helping you turn ideas into investment-worthy startups so you can get funding and get into accelerators on Bitcoin. Also, big shout out to our media partners, BTC Incorporated, parent company of Bitcoin Magazine. They're the top media on Bitcoin. And CryptoSlate, a crypto-agnostic media platform that brings the latest happenings on Bitcoin to the rest of the crypto world. And a big thank you to our teams and all guest speakers that have come together to make this show possible and accelerate the advent of the Bitcoin economy. So today, again, our guest speaker is Abdel Haraz. He's the CEO and co-founder of DeepLake. And DeepLake is the first DLC API company enabling Bitcoin L1 DeFi ecosystem to exist. You probably also know some of the companies that it enabled. For example, they also enabled Liquidium, which is the first ordinals lending protocol on Bitcoin L1. And a few others. But before we get into that, let's invite Abdel up. Abdel, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Happy to be here. Excited. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, right? We've known each other for a little over a year. And thanks for coming to share your origin story with us, because we believe that this is going to inspire more founders to want to come build on Bitcoin after they hear about your story. So are you ready to get into this?
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Wonderful. So let me just play back the reel a little bit so everyone has their bearings. So right now you're doing DeepLake, which is doing a lot of things for the first time on Bitcoin L1 ever. And but before this, if I understand correctly, you are already a serial entrepreneur, correct? And then before that, you went to a top technology university in France. But even before that, can you share with us, before you became a business owner or a startup founder, before that, tell us a little bit about yourself. Were there any like early signs that you wanted to be a founder? Like, did you have side hustles or did you have like aspirations? Like, what was this? Can you share a little bit about like your origin story, even before you pulled the trigger to become a founder?
Yeah. So I don't know for sure, but like I just remember that when I was little, I was always trying to sell stuff, not to like make money, but like, just trying to like
a little. Let's get some.
Maybe around I was 11 years young, or around that time I was always trying to like build things.
So let's make money. Okay, great. What are you trying to sell?
like some bracelets that I was like making at home and stuff like that. But like I did not understand back in the day that like it was hustling. It was just like I just wanted to like build things and share them with people. And one of the ways to share things that I was maybe building, I'm not sure if it's even building, but like these things were by selling them to people. They did not like have a huge monetary value, but like it was like some kind of hustling.
Yeah, excellent. That's amazing. I actually made some bracelets at home before too when I was a kid and sold them, so I could resonate with that. What was, so this is 11. What else did you do? Like, what was the next? Can you give us an example of you trying to sell
something? So after that, like the other thing that I was really passionate about, and I think like the thing that resonates with me a lot is sharing. I think like when you have something and you can share it with people and you can like you try to like make it simple and explain it to people is something that I'm very passionate about. And like once I got to high school, I was like trying to help people to get their exams done and tutoring all of my class. And like this stayed with me until I graduated from engineering school. And like at a certain point in time, I was like not doing my classes and just doing like tutoring for people in engineering school. It was like I had like classes of 150 people that were just like they came to my own classes, like unofficial classes, to like share with them what things are going to be like in exams and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know about that. Know that about you, but I used to tutor engineering students too when I was in university. so that's two for two, man. That's incredible. And yeah, I got started when I was in like high school, I think, or stuff
Yeah,
like
me.
that. Yeah. So okay, so we both have a love for education. Now, when you're in university, what you went to France Polytechnic, is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and then you studied like what kind of engineering?
So my my major was telecom and networks, and my minor was probability and statistics. I thought that
Really?
like
I did the opposite. I did comp sci as a minor, but then my major was like economics and statistics.
yeah. Well, yeah, but let me share with you something. I think that I used statistics in my life more than com and networks. I thought that like I would be able to have a career in telecommunication. It was like something that was there, and there was a market. There was like a visible market. When you graduate, you will go to one of like the top uh, telecom carrier, either in Europe or back in Africa or wherever. And I have like my classmates that are like right now working at Apple, in Microsoft, Google, and like these top.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Because France Polytechnic is like a global top 100 school. It's
yeah,
sort of like the MIT in France, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And but I think that the minor that I did, like everything that I was doing related to statistics, this is what I'm like using on like my day-to-day job and like things that I have to take care of on a daily basis. Um, it's it's not something that you can like touch, but you feel like you have these reflexes about like just trying to understand what is the probability of something happening and how to avoid that, or like how to work around that, and like what is the risk that this will bring to your maybe project or life or whatever, and you want to like be able to either find a way to manage this risk or like try to avoid it altogether. So yeah, I think what I've learned in statistics like helps me more than what I did in comms and networks. Yeah, I can't hear you, Albert. You're muted.
So okay, so let's stick with this topic about you're in university, you're minoring in what statistics and major in telecom, right? Were your classmates paying you for this, or were we just doing it for fun?
I had two types of like people that I was sharing with. I had classmates that were not paying anything. I was just doing that because like I felt that I was able to do it, and I had like other people from not my school that were paying me for like tutoring them.
All right, good, good. So and then between university and your first business or startup, how many years was that?
13 months.
13 months. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So well, your friends, they're at Google, going to Apple, etc., but you decide to do something very
Yeah.
different. Why do you think you made that decision, whereas everyone else took the safe route?
I'm not sure if it's the safe route. I was just like feeling, I was feeling that things were not moving as fast as I was expecting them to move. Uh, like I spent 13 months in one of the biggest banks in Africa, and like yeah, it's maybe top five, and I was just feeling that like things were slower than what I was expecting them to be. A lot of processes, very little exploration, very little like risk averse, and yeah, just things that are there to operate and keep the business working as usual and not like mess up. Uh, I did not understand back in the day that there was something else. I thought that okay, so this is how like professional life is.
Oh, are we getting rugged here? Hold on. All right. All right. So Abdel, our connection got cut for a second. The last thing I heard was you were being told that this is how professional life was, right? So
Yeah, I thought like this kind of framework that I've experienced with in that bank. Uh, Again, I was I just left school, and like this was my first experience. I thought that that's like professional life or like business is that this is how things are done. And if it's the case, I'm not able to control like the velocity of or like the speed of doing things. Let me just build something and try to do it a little bit faster there. At least I'll have some more control over what I'm doing. And I was surprised when I started my first company, because like there I understood that there are a lot of ways of building a company and a lot of stages of building a company, and you need to understand what stage you are at, what are the tools that you need to deploy for that stage to go to the next stage, and eventually you will get to that stage where I was in that bank, as like a natural uh, progression or natural development of your company if you do a good
okay.
job there. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. What were you doing at the bank? What was your role?
I was a network and telecom architect.
Okay. So it was a technical role.
Yeah, exactly.
When you had to do what, both software and hardware?
No, I was just managing projects for like the local network in Morocco and all of the subsidiaries in Africa.
Oh, okay. I can imagine it. I mean, like,
Yeah, it was very stressful. Like you work at nights, and like if the service is down, you need to be there, and like yeah, it's money. You can't like uh
yeah. No, I was just thinking, like, wow, how like that's boring, man. That's like boring. But so
it's
I
only
totally, I
yeah.
guess I can see how you're motivated. Like after 13 months, you okay. So after 13 months, you start your own business. What was that doing? What was your first business doing?
Yeah, so my first business was a company that was building VoIP solutions. Like I told you, I was like my major was telecoms and networks, and I wanted to like yeah, it was just natural to start from there. And there was this market hype around things like Skype, Google Meet, and Zoom. And back in 2012, 2013, the market was still not as democratized as what we have right now. There was like not few players that just control the market. Right now, if you need to like do this kind of discussion, you will probably choose Zoom, Google Meet, Skype, or Teams. Back in the day, we did not have this kind of market state, and all of there were some corporations, some like companies that needed to have internal communication solutions for their employees, and these internal communications solutions, they needed to be rich, to have like conferencing services, file sharing, messaging, like instant messaging, and things around this flavor. So yeah, we were building these kind of solutions for them, and we did a lot of VoIP, either call VoIP solutions, either for like internal communication software, or for outbound international calls. So if, for example, you want to make a call to Morocco, you can either go through the traditional network, which is just a landline, or you go through the VoIP network, which is what we were doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So this network is your network that you guys created.
No. It was just products. It was just like
Oh,
developed.
you're giving access to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we developed the whole software for your company, and it's your IP, it's your proprietary to you, and yeah, it's yours. We are there just to like develop the software, configure the software, and maintain the software for you.
All right, perfect. And then how long did you do this for?
Around 2-3 years.
Okay, so you're making like some money doing that, and
Yeah.
before we get into like what you did after 3 years, what I mean, what was going through your mind when you after 13 months and then you decide? I mean, you could very well go to another company, right? But then what did you end up?
No, I did not. Like when yeah, when I resigned from that bank, I did not have any plan to be hired on another company. I did not like have any proposal. I just like stopped, and
Because most people would go to another company.
no, I did not do that. I had some money like from work and stuff like that, and I just did some budget, and I told myself, okay, so I have this money, I can live for, I have this runaway for like this many months, and I'll just go and find something to do. And yeah, I remember that when I started, like I started like exploring doing stuff, and I had like, yeah, I think that I put in my bank account for the first company 10K. And 10K here in Morocco, it's if you like hire one employee or one engineer will cost you around 1,500. So it's around like maybe less than 10 months, 7 months. And I
Okay.
told myself, okay, so I'll just hire one engineer, and we will be, yeah, like 2 people company, and we'll just like do something. And after 7 months, after 7 months, if it does not work, like it did not work, I'll just go back to like being an employee of some other company, which is fine.
Interesting. So, most people, they can't stomach that risk, right? Because you have 7 month runway. A lot of people would say, oh, 7 month runway, then I should just go and get another job, right? Or maybe some people will be like working that first year, and then they develop like very extravagant living expenses, and they sort of like have to go get another job because they didn't really save up money, like why? I mean, like, why did you take? I mean,
Yeah.
most people would just take the safe route. How come you decided with 7 months runway to do the business?
I think, yeah,
Do you have a customer?
Sorry?
Do you have a customer already lined up, or
nothing. No, nothing.
all right, so yes, awesome. All right, so you just
Yeah.
jumped in. Okay.
So yeah, I think that's one thing like if you ask me right now, what is the one thing that you can't live without when you are building a company, I'll just like show you a spreadsheet that I have. Like I have that spreadsheet since like forever. And whenever I start something, I need to budget that thing. Like I need to know exactly or almost exactly what is the cost, what are the expenses, how much I'm going to like be spending for the next 6 months, for the next 12 months, for the next 18 months, right? And when I did that, this is where I started doing this work. When I did that, I like uh I budgeted how I'm going to like spend my week, right? So I was doing like I'm going to spend this much money in like food. I'm not going to like buy clothes. And in the weekend, because I need to like stress out, I'm going to like spend this money going to like movies or something. And this was my week for like very, very long. And I stuck to it, and like I think that I was disciplined in that way. And I did not like spend money in places that I did not need to spend money in. Uh, and yeah, I feel like if you have a plan, if you are disciplined about the plan and you budget for that plan, uh, there is no like reason for the plan to not work. The plan might change while you are like executing it, but it will work. You just need to be disciplined about the plan.
Interesting. Yeah, that's like a very good advice for people just starting off, right? Especially when you don't like I mean, when you graduate from university, most people are not married, most people are not, they don't have a
Yeah,
mortgage, don't have kids to take care of. It's the best time to just take even half a year to try your
yeah,
hand at entrepreneurship, right? Because what's the worst that can happen? You actually learn more during that time than you will at the big company. And then when you go back, you're gonna have a lot more experience to find more jobs. So
yeah.
it's not like it's actually the right move to make. It's just that maybe people they don't think about it. Like they make it
Maybe they don't think
like,
about it, or they can't like just deploy the effort to stick or be disciplined about what they want. Because like I can understand, and that it's natural for people once they get their first job and once they get their first check, they want to like start living their life. They want to like travel, they want to like buy clothes, they want to like go and party. uh I I did not feel the need to do that, and maybe this is like works for me, but for others, this urge might push them to not be disciplined about what they want to achieve. And again, I just want to touch on that like baggage thing that you talked about. The best time to experiment with things is when you have very little responsibility and very little commitment toward others. So yeah, 22, 23, 24, 25, you don't have to like pay the rent, you don't have to like pay the mortgage, go and live with your parents. That's completely fine for an entrepreneur. I know that there is a stigma around that in like Europe and the US. We do not have that, but like it's just like, if you think about it, that's the move to do. You want to build
yeah.
something, you want to like cut expenses, go and live with your parents.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shoot,
uh,
Steve Jobs did
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you think about things like scientifically and mathematically, uh, like you will find a way. If you think about them emotionally plus scientifically, or like a combination of the two, you will find another way to spend money.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, no, that's very, very good sharing. So let's see. Where does this bring us? So you did this company for about 3 years, and then what did you do after that?
Yeah, so after 3 years, like Zoom, Google Meet, Skype, like they started getting a lot of market share, and they started going after the corporate world. Microsoft, they bought, I think it was called Link or something like that, transformed that into Teams. So these companies, they stopped needing to build their own solutions because Microsoft just gave them these solutions. Slack also, they were like the fastest company maybe to get to 1 billion valuation or $100 million valuation under a year or something like that when they launched. So yeah, these companies, they stopped needing this kind of services or software services. I had to pivot, and I pivoted toward another market that was like flourishing back then, which was like financial services, fintech, banking, and insurance companies. Like apart from that 13 months that I spent at that bank, and I was not in financial services, I was in networks and telecom, so I did not know much about what's happening from a banking perspective. That's the only experience that I had with banking services. When we did that pivot, I had to like learn all of that. And now after, that was in 2015, now after maybe 8 years, that company is still up and running after
Wow.
8 years.
Okay. So
We,
so it must be, if you run a company for 8 years, it must be like doing okay. Yeah. It
yeah,
was still, but just to be clear, was it still like an software outsourcing company?
exactly. Yeah.
But just like in a different, like in a better market. Okay, so you did this what, like 8 years plus like 2.5, 3. So it's almost like 10 years now, right?
Yeah.
And
I graduated in 2011.
okay, all right, so like 11 years ish. All right, so okay, wow. So now it brings you to the era of you getting into Bitcoin, right? There must have been something like before you joined the Bitcoin Startup Lab. There must have, like, I remember in your application, it was like something to do with blockchain and insurance, right? Like, how did you start getting into the blockchain world? Like, you're probably already pretty close because the fintech, but what was this?
Yeah.
When did
No,
you realize,
I was
like, wow, I want to jump into Web3, blockchain, crypto?
no, I knew about the ecosystem like since 2017. I knew about what's happening, what was happening in the ecosystem. I knew about Bitcoin. I knew about Ethereum. I unfortunately was not able to like have or like buy some coins because here in Morocco we can't do that. We do not have the tools and the the ways to have access to this technology. But like I knew about what it was being built and how it was being built, right? And yeah, in 2021, I decided to step down and leave my second company and start a product company. So I was doing services and I wanted now to just build a product for a lot of reasons that we can like talk about. But yeah, not stopped, but like I left the service company and started a products company. And this products company was a digital health insurance company because I've seen some problems in the local markets that I wanted to like solve. Some billing problems, slowness in reimbursements and stuff like that in the health sector. I built a that company from scratch. I was the one who like wrote the first line of code of that software, and we built it toward having like multiple front ends, a mobile front end, a web front end for multiple actors that intervened in the health of a patient, and some integration between like health professionals, the insurance company, and the patients to just automate a lot of things that were like taking times and making reimbursement get slowed by these inefficiencies in the market. I spent a year and a half there, and it was not like a failure, but we did not have the traction that we should have had. We had some customers, we had some like partnerships in place, but we did not have that like product traction that we needed to have to like say, okay, this is a startup that we want to like put oil and gas on it to like just get it to the next level. And this was primarily uh, a cause or like because of the local regulation. We had a lot of constraints that we needed to respect, and we were not able to like just from a regulatory perspective address them. And we were not able to raise because all of the VCs that we were talking to, they were like afraid of that like regulatory framework that was not looking like it's going to change, right? And this is where I started thinking, okay, so I have this software, I have this product that works, I have these clients. This means that like there is some kind of appetite for this kind of product, but I have this problem, which is regulation. How can I solve for regulation? And yeah, if you want to solve not for regulation, but if you want to like just get to market faster in this kind of setup, you need to decentralize and kill the fact that there is a team behind the product, and say, for example, there is a DAO behind the product, and create some kind of incentives for different type of groups of people to like want to participate in like that product. And this is where I started looking at Web3 and crypto. It's muted.
Interesting. So that's when, what year is that? 2000.
That was late 2021.
Okay, all right. And then we met about a year later, or a few months later, actually.
Yeah, 6 months later.
Okay. So now we're getting into 2022, right? And you joined our cohort 1 with this insurance idea, and I remember you pivoted many times, right? So I mean, this is an important transitioning point in your life, right? Not necessarily joining the Bitcoin Startup Lab, but before you're trading your time for money, right? You're basically outsource or consultancy service where you guys would you'd be the third party to develop software for companies, and then what did you want to do a startup, especially if you're making, like, look, the company is running 8 years, so it must be doing okay. All right, so you're already making a good living off that, and you can continue making a good living off of outsourcing software, right? This is like, it's always like, it almost seems like there's always more things to build than engineers, even though engineers, like, more and more graduate every year, but the economy is like even growing faster than that. So outsourced software is, one of those, like, at least for foreseeable future, is a pretty good business to be in, right? And then you probably have a little more flexibility than working at a big company. You'll probably making more money than at a big company, right? So why did you want to do a startup, which is a very different beast, right, from outsourcing? The risk profile is very different, but of course, then you don't have to exchange your time for money anymore. Maybe if you create something awesome from a startup, even when you're sleeping, that product is making money for you. But like, but that in itself usually is not enough for people to make the jump, because they're like, well, I don't want to take that risk, right? So why did you leave a solid business to be a startup founder?
Yeah,
that's a big decision.
There are two reasons there. The first reason is that like you said, there are risk profiles, or like just people profiles, right? And there are people that will not be able to yield their best work if they are not in a unstable world, or like if you give them a well organized, or like something that is stable, that how it's going to behave in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, even if they are like talented and like bright, they will not produce their best work just because they want to explore. Like they want to spend their time and energy exploring ideas and maybe just get these ideas off the ground and then give them to other people that like take these things that now have some kind of head or face and get them into this tunnel of like making a lot of money, right? So yeah, you have the problem, and there is like a very good, excellent book about that, written about Peter Thiel, talking just about this like problem, which is 0 to 1. You have nothing and you want to go to something, and then you have something and you want to make that something very big, right? So there are two profiles of people, or like three profiles of people. I have never been able to like stick with like profile 2 and 3. I always find myself going back to like exploring ideas and talking about products, even if I know that I'm making less money. That's the first reason. And the second reason is I I just, again, mathematically, scientifically, just like sat with myself and like I told myself, hey, you can do two things at the same time and spend like 50% of your time here, 50% of your time here, and maybe you will make 10% progress on both. Or you can risk 100% of your time on one thing and obsess about it, and maybe you will get 100% progress on that one thing. And yeah, I just decided to do like go full time all in on one thing and just obsess about that thing.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, the only time people, in my experience, that it doesn't turn out well when they obsess on something is if they obsess on like an industry that is shrinking. You know, but everyone that I know that was taking the risk to become an entrepreneur in a growing industry or the beginning of a trend, even if their startup fails, they end up getting a much higher salary than other people who are just working in the industry, you know, and then they also have a much higher chance to start a successful business after that. Like they can get back up, right? And so I think that's a paradox. I mean, I don't understand why, like, maybe because but maybe we don't have an answer here, but let's talk about this for a second. This is a paradox, right? Even though we see that you just get so much more experience in the same amount of time. So you're right, like if we focus on something that's fast moving, even if the company fails, right? But why do people not do that if they want to get ahead? I don't get it. Like, do you have a hypothesis there? I'm just curious.
I can throw like a couple of things there. There is what we call delayed gratification. You need to be able to delay your gratification and like be okay with that. And yeah, do not think about like instant gratification and instant maybe repayment or compensation of what you are doing. And the second thing, and this is like an exercise that I've done, and I just want to like understand what would have happened if like I did not start my first company. Yeah, again, just take a spreadsheet and let's assume, for example, you start from salary X, right? And if you are doing a great job, you will be you'll get a raise of maybe something between 10-15% a year. If you are like in a very nice industry with in a very big company, it will be like something around that. Yeah, right. So yeah, take that salary and just like give yourself a raise every year for like between 10 and 15%. I've done that first column, and I've done the same thing on a second column of how much like I was losing the first years, and then how much I started like making as money the subsequent years. And like the difference is just like there is no difference. Like there is no comparison. You can't compare the two, right? But this is just because you waited for that gratification to come few years later, right? And yeah, I think it's just that you need to be able to, like, again, focus on the value, focus on what you have passion for. If it's money, and yeah, in most cases it's money, you might like be drawn to get your money now. If it's like something else, you might like put money aside and focus on that thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to break it down. I do think it's about instant gratification, because I think everyone knows that knowledge is power, right? And I'm sure that even if you talk to people who are not running a business and you ask them what's the best investment you can make, right? I think in the end, even if they don't say knowledge and you explain to them why knowledge would be the best investment to make in yourself, right? Better than property, better than stocks, dare I say it, even better than crypto. But right, it's like, if you don't have the knowledge, how are you going to make money on those other things? So invest in knowledge in yourself, right? So, but even though that this is like in plain sight, somehow people convince themselves that they shouldn't do it, even when they're young, even in their 20s. So, and that's the
Hard, like,
what it's like a paradox to me.
but it's still hard. Like, you need to spend the time. You can't like just wish for knowledge and knowledge will come. You need to spend the time like understanding stuff that you probably do not have in your comfort zone, and spend like real hours going and understanding these new things, because this is how like you increase your comfort zone. And like, it's like you said, it's paradoxical, and it's also interesting, because once you increase that comfort zone, you find yourself in a exponential growth, because you have now the tools or more tools to go and like grab more knowledge. And just like that, you find yourself in these like cycles of exponential growth, because you
Yeah,
now
exponential growth. Yeah, once you get into the groove, right? It's like muscle memory, but
exactly.
really like taking the first step. I was reading uh I mean, this is something that Novel said, right? The one of the founders of AngelList. He's a serial entrepreneur. I think most people know about him. But I mean, like, he's definitely not the first one to say it, but I think he's like probably one of the more famous people alive that said it. And he said, like, whenever you go into a new industry, if you want to become a founder, give yourself 3 months, maximum 9 months to get caught up to speed on that knowledge, right? Because they're really interesting. And then let's take that knowledge, and then you take what Paul Graham said, right, at Y Combinator, right? He says, you know, if you don't know if you want to be a founder, why don't you join a company that's bleeding edge in that industry? Stay there for a year and a half maximum, and you'll find that you'll be at the front of that. You know, you'll be at the bleeding edge. And it's also sort of same thing what Novel said about, take 3 to 9 months to learn and get to the pinnacle, to the edge of the. Like when you reach the edge of the knowledge base for that industry, when you can't go any further and you have to start experimenting and putting stuff together yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it actually doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take that much time, right? I mean, I've been doing this business for 10 years, and I see time and time again, the people who hit it hard the first few months, they ramp up, they raise funds, they make money. The people who they don't get into it, they don't get into it. They never reach that critical speed of exponential growth. But really, it's like a burst for 3 months. And afterwards, it's more like, once you're in that groove, it's just like, okay, this is normal, right?
Yeah,
And
give me more.
yeah. So I mean, it's when we break down like that, it's like, come on, if you want to change your destiny, it's like 3 months. 3 months, change your destiny. But I get it. It's hard. I mean, even if when people try to like have a workout routine for 3 months, it's hard to keep it for 3 months, or a diet routine. I get it. Like we're creatures of habit. So, but anyway, so let's just. This is also part of the reason why the startup Bitcoin Star Black community exists, right? Because if a bunch of people are motivated around you, it's much easier to reach that trajectory, right? Like you said, that exponential growth, because the program is designed to be 3 months for a reason. But okay, so let's enough about the Star Blab. But here's another thing that I want to point out to everybody is that I think you pivot what 5 or 6 times during the program until you landed on Deep Lake, which is, for the people who are just joining us, Abdel is the CEO and co-founder of Deep Lake, and they are the first DLC API company that is enabling the DeFi ecosystem on Bitcoin L1. Right, this is like a game changer. Before it take months to like code these things, and now you could just do it in hours, right? Like with 20 lines of code, making it really, really simple to activate Bitcoin DeFi. And we don't mean like Bitcoin DeFi on a side chain. We mean like Bitcoin like DeFi on Bitcoin L1. Is that correct, Abdel?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the game changer right there. Yeah, so you pivoted from insurance, and then can you still like how many? I forgot which ones you pivoted to. You pivoted to a few, right? Like before you ended up on this one that's first time ever.
I did few pivots on the insurance topic, and like I understood after these pivots that it was too early for having an insurance, like a health insurance product on Web3. People are or were are and still are more interested on doing things that are financial and having like profit from trading assets. And then I went to derivatives and options. We did a couple of pivots there, and then we went to like just building a layer inside of L1 mainnet Bitcoin as an APIs that will allow people to just integrate Bitcoin into their product very, very quickly and easily.
Okay, so actually, all those ideas are pretty good. All those are like behind those ideas. Those are potentially unicorn ideas on Bitcoin. Okay, but I mean, we don't have time to double click into every single one. But let's just say the one right before you pivoted to creating easy DLC APIs, basically, right, to enable Bitcoin DeFi and L1. You're going to do derivatives. Right, it's basically options or perpetuals, basically, right? And then obviously this is a one of the basic building tools if you want to have a sophisticated or like a full-blown financial ecosystem on Bitcoin, right? So that was totally a viable product. Now, what was the deciding factor? Because both of these could have both of these are great ideas. So what made you cross over to DLC APIs?
Yeah, so we were building derivatives or perpetuals on top of stacks, and we had a big challenge, and that challenge was to liquidity. We needed liquidity because we were doing a peer to smart contract perpetual DEX, where you don't need a counterparty to be able to trade, because you are trading against the smart contract, and the smart contract is able to find some kind of equilibrium between the two sides of the market, the long side and short side, right? And for that smart contract to operate, it needed liquidity. So we had this challenge of liquidity, and again, just thinking about that exercise or like that problem, you can either solve for bringing liquidity to stacks, like going and finding LPs that are willing to give you their BTC maybe, or their money, and put it in the stacks blockchain. Or you can move your product to where the liquidity is, right? And I think the first option is harder, or like the first solution is harder than the second solution. Why? Because you can't, for example, go to someone who has all of his saving, for example, in US dollars, and tell him, hey, I need you to convert these dollars into euros because my product only understands euros. He needs to like have trust in euro to do that. And this is like a very, very big, difficult problem to solve for. The second option is also complicated, but it's easier from a go-to-market perspective, which is okay, liquidity is there, take your products and go to the liquidity and
Yeah,
just
don't fight the market, right? Don't fight the market. Yeah, go to where the ocean where there's a lot of fish in the sea.
that's exactly it. And this is where we like pivoted toward, because we already had like the whole infrastructure for these APIs and this stuff that were like living in our product. So we took that part of our product that was BTC or Bitcoin related, and we just doubled down on it, and we went L1 native Bitcoin API.
Wow. Okay. So luckily you made that decision because it seems like there's more and more action on Bitcoin L1, right? And because you guys did this, you also enabled your classmate Robin Liquidium, right, to build the first ever ordinals and lending protocol, all native to Bitcoin L1, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, and now they have like over 20,000 people on the white list. The beta just launched. They're doing well. What other companies are you servicing right now with your API?
Yeah, so right now we are working with around maybe 10 or 12 companies. Some of them are like more developed than the others, but in the cohort, most like the use cases that we are looking at are mostly lending, peer-to-peer lending, either using ordinals as collateral or using BTC as collateral, right? Which is for me is something that is really interesting, because right now you can, for example, put your BTC into an escrow, take out a loan. If you are not able to repay that loan, your counterparty is able to like liquidate you and get BTC, which is very, very liquid. So there is no risk of the collateral crashing and the lender not willing to issue that loan, right? But as for
That's a huge application because a lot of people get stuck at the bank, right? There's a lot of loans that banks, it'll either take too long or maybe like they don't have a product for that, right? So
exactly,
this
so
is filling like a massive gap in the market. I mean, look, lending, we're talking earlier this morning with Robin. Lending and borrowing like globally is like $200 to $300 trillion last year. That's like bigger than like the top GDPs combined, right? So yeah, I mean, this is, and now you're doing it with the hardest or the most sound crypto asset class, Bitcoin. So this is these are for the first time ever breakthroughs, correct? Like before there weren't these options.
yeah, before I would avoid to say that this is a first, because I don't know like what's happening in the whole market, but like they were mostly done on other chains or side chains or L2s. And yeah, once you go to L2, you get into this whole discussion that it's not pure BTC. And when it's not pure BTC, you will probably lose a lot of the participants in the market,
Yeah, because
because
this is like native BTC. This is like BTC. So there's no extra layer of being wrapped or anything like that. Yeah. So
exactly.
this is like as base layer as you could get. And this is what we mean by Bitcoin L1, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's native to BTC. It's a BTC transaction living in the mainnet blockchain. You can go to mempool, take a look at transaction and see what's happening.
All right.
And
So yeah, okay. So we're almost on time. So let me fast forward a little bit. So let's fast forward 5 years from now. Let's say the DLC APIs that you made through Deep Lake, right, are servicing all the companies you want to service. How does this Bitcoin decentralized financial ecosystem look like? What are you enabling here? What is it? What like
is this a safe place?
yeah, say place. What's the high level here, right?
I'm thinking like if what we are gunning for is accomplished, like we can easily have a BTC or Bitcoin reaching few $100,000 in value. That's like in 5 year span, it's achievable.
You mean like
If
each BTC is worth $100,000 or more?
few $100,000.
Yeah. Okay. That's a little closer to my estimate. So let's just be very clear about what you're enabling. You're basically enabling a decentralized bank on
Yeah,
on Bitcoin, right? We're finally enabling a decentralized banking ecosystem on Bitcoin. And this is like, I mean, there are a lot of things are going to come from that, but this is to put it into layman terms, this is what's happening here. So this is absolutely a massive innovation, and you're making that very easy, right? It's almost like the lending, borrowing, the escrow, like these key components. Every bank needs it, but the way each bank is run, right? Each decentralized bank is run is probably going to be a little bit different. But you're basically providing the nuts and bolts, the basic primitive tools and infrastructure they need to run a decentralized bank on Bitcoin. So this is amazing. Still early market. So if you guys, how do people reach you, Abdel?
Yeah, Twitter, our Twitter page is open. DMs are open. My personal Twitter page or accounts is also open. DMs are open. You can email me at abdel@deeplake.fi. I'll put that in the chat. Or you can go to our Discord and reach out to the team or to our website, deeplake.fi. You have Calendly there if you want to like talk about any ideas or product ideas, tech and Bitcoin.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that, Abdel. So we have about 25 minutes left here. So I see some of your future alumni here in the current cohort, like Seth and some others. Do you guys want to ask any questions for Abdel? And while you guys are Bobby, maybe you could like invite Seth up as a speaker or somebody else. While we're doing that, let me do a shout out to the Bitcoin Olympics. Right, like this is a charity or a nonprofit program that the Bitcoin Startup Lab has created. This time we're coming out in force. We have over $100,000 in prizes. $50,000 is technology agnostic on Bitcoin. So you can use any technology on Bitcoin, including DLC APIs from DeepLake. Right. So if you Abdel is going to be participating in the hackathon by sharing his API and how to do it, and give you some wish list inspirations on some unicorn ideas that could be built with DeepLake technology, right? And you guys could become unicorns together. But the important thing is that we have $50,000 in agnostic prizes, where if you use DLC API from DeepLake, you can also qualify for those agnostic prizes. So if you want to find out more, go to @BTC Startup Lab, @BTC Startup Lab on Twitter, and sign up. Sign up and follow the steps. Come to our Discord. Have fun. It's going to be like last time we made the biggest Bitcoin hackathon of the year. H1, we're going to make the biggest one again. We're going to raise the bar this time by a lot. Like last time we had, in cash prizes, I think we only had, or cash and crypto prizes, we had like $10,000-15,000 in prizes. This time we have over 150,000. So we literally 10x'd the cash prizes. Okay, guys. So if you guys want to get in, definitely jump in. Okay, and so that's my invitation to you guys. If you are thinking about coming and build on Bitcoin Olympic is a great way to hang out, meet new people, meet a lot of the who's who and movers and shakers on Bitcoin, because they're going to be coming in to share their knowledge. They're going to be in panels. They're going to give talks. They're going to take crash courses. They're going to do workshops with you guys, right? But maybe you want to skip through that and you want to go straight to the Bitcoin Startup Lab. It's the same thing, @BTC Startup Lab, @BTC Startup Lab on Twitter, or now X, right? But okay, let's see. We have some people here. Who wants to ask some questions? We have about 20 minutes left. If you're doing DeFi or you're doing some kind of like Bitcoin L1 or in this space, I would suggest that you guys take advantage of this opportunity while Abdel's here, and ask some questions. Does anybody want to ask any questions here? Or maybe we should, while people are thinking about asking questions, how do people access your API right now?
Yeah, right now, just reach out to us. It's already in production live. You need an API key. We create for you an account, generate an API key, do a maybe 20 to 30 minutes call just to like show you how things are working. And that API key will give you access to our testnet environment. Once you do all of the integration you need there, you can get upgraded to the mainnet environment and you can start like playing with the real BTC. Not playing, but like integrating real BTC into your app.
Wow. And how long will that take with using your API?
Or the latest partner that we onboarded, it was 4.5 days
Wow.
from onboarding to having his use case done. And if we had like stacked all of the work that was done into like a period of time, it will be half a day and a half. So 4.5 days, just because like he was not there, we were not here, we needed to like manage to plan a call and get on the call. But like if we have stacked the work into
I mean, like you could get it under 2 days, so that's amazing. Before, without your APIs, how long would it have taken?
like at least a few months, at least 3
Wow.
months. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. Okay. By the way, what's the business model? People are probably wondering how you guys make money from this.
Yeah, so we take a small chunk from transacted volume, but it starts after going to mainnet and like after having a certain volume done. That will allow you to like do the integration test stuff, be able to check how things are working, and once you are settled and everything is there, we take a percentage of the transacted volume.
All right, very cool. So everyone wins. You save people time and you take a small cut, like a small cut of the transaction volume. Excellent. And by the way, everyone, this is already live and running. As I mentioned, Liquidium, the first ordinals letting protocol on Bitcoin DeFi L1 is using it, as well as 10 other companies. So if you have some kind of DeFi that you want to unlock on Bitcoin, come check out Deep Lake. Is your website deeplake.fi or?
It's both, like either .finance or .fi.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so it looks like everyone's sort of shy today, so maybe we'll just end this early. We could save time. Maybe you and me, we could catch up. Thank you all for listening. And like for our sign out, let me share with everybody. We have more Who's Who, a founder's journey to Bitcoin. All right, again, we're going to do 30 of these. Next up is going to be Trevor Owens and then Leonidas. They're the co-creators of the Ordinal Show as well as other startups. But we're going to focus on, how they why they wanted to create the Ordinal Show and how it has become a very significant cultural event or a show that's really spearheading the Bitcoin Renaissance. And of course, we're going to invite up Domo, the co-creator, the creator of BRC20, and then Tyler Evans, who's a co-founder of BTC Inc., mother company of Bitcoin Magazine, as well as he's running their Bitcoin ecosystem fund now. And then after that, we have a Stanford professor who built a new protocol. His name is David, and many more. But I won't run down the entire list just to save time. Again, thank you everyone for listening. This show is brought to you by the Bitcoin Startup Lab. We're a top pre-accelerator in the Bitcoin ecosystem. We help you turn your ideas into investment-worthy startups so you can get investment and you get into accelerators. Also, a big shout out to all our media partners. BTC Inc., parent company of Bitcoin Magazine. They're the top media on Bitcoin and Crypto Slate. a crypto agnostic media platform that brings the latest happenings on Bitcoin to the rest of the crypto world. And of course, a big thank you to our teams and all the guest speakers that have come together to make the show possible and accelerate the advent of the Bitcoin economy. So stay tuned and we'll see you next time. Thank you.